Hey, Ryan.
Happy New Year to you, Councillor. How are you?
I'm well. Yourself?
Most excellent, thank you.
How about we make a deal that the last councillor to join becomes our chair?
What if it's only one councillor on the line?
Then we change that rule.
Can't hear anything out there? Perfect. We're just checking the volume out in the foyer. We don't want to overload our colleagues out on the first floor. I haven't heard that any of your colleagues are not attending, so we will be starting hopefully soon.
So, Belinda, did you read the long oath I sent you? Are you prepared?
I saw that you sent it, but I haven't read it. So
I would prepare for it. It's quite involved.
What is it, like 3 words then?
Oh, no, it is 3 paragraphs, maybe.
Okay.
So I just thought you want to prepare because there is a test.
Really?
And I didn't know if you wanted to affirm or swear. I know you usually like to swear, but I put affirm.
I only swear in private.
Oh.
And yesterday I was swearing, just in case you were wondering.
Something local or something perhaps other places?
Oh, just democracy in general under attack.
Yeah.
Why am I only seeing me and not you guys? What is up with this? Oh, there you're back. It is creepy just to see myself. Hey, Rob.
Hi, Belinda and Ryan.
I've tried to convince Ryan that the last councillor to join is chair, so it's between Ryan and Jeff.
It's just what?
Last councillor to join this meeting should become the chair.
No, because Kaufman's late, and he and I agree that it should be Parker. Are you
Okay.
in?
I'm fine.
Parker hasn't chaired anything for as long as I can remember.
I'm fine with that. Now I see 2 of you. Why?
That's crazy. What's going on, Ryan?
Hey, 2 of me or 2 Councillor Mashira?
No, 2 of Rob. It was like he had a twin all of a sudden on the screen.
I have that effect on people.
Your mom might be surprised if she had 2 sons all of a sudden.
That's funny. You're funny.
Oh,
what did I just do there? Oh, here comes guest.
Ryan must be coming on.
Hey, Happy New Year, guys.
Happy
Hey,
New
Ryan,
Year.
Happy New Year. Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, we've decided. You're okay with that?
you're chairman.
Even when you show up on time, you get screwed.
You're just so good at it. We think it'd be good.
Yeah, I will let you know that we are live on the internet, and we have one of your colleagues is joining as a remote viewer.
The rule is he can debate, he can't vote.
He will do neither. Just wanted to see your faces. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Jeff.
Happy New Year. Hey, Rob, it's hard. We're having trouble hearing you, Rob.
Hey, Doug.
Hey, Doug. Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year, folks.
We've been warned by Ryan once that we're live on the internet, so we just have to remember that. We're already live.
Okay.
That's why I have a hat on.
Jeffrey Kaufman is now joining.
Okay.
All right, since I'm deputy mayor, I will kick off this meeting since we don't have a chair yet. That's okay. If that's okay with the rest of you.
Rob, your mic is very quiet.
Is it? Really? 1 second.
I only knew you were speaking because your
My
lips were moving.
My lips were moving. That's weird. Can you hear me now?
Still can't hear you. No.
Really?
I could hear you at the beginning when you first started speaking, like early on, but not now.
Let's hear this.
Very quietly, very faint thump.
Okay, let's try this.
Now you're quiet and fuzzy.
Councillor Miyashiro, could we maybe ask that you maybe log back on, and we'll give you a moment there.
Is that code for putting Rob into timeout? We'll give you a moment.
Remember, Councillor Carlson, you're a visitor at this meeting.
I know. Sorry. Disruptor. I'll mute myself now.
Excellent, there he is.
Oh, well, we're just waiting.
Okay, how's the audio now?
Oh, there we go.
Is the audio better?
Yes, very much so.
We can hear
Okay,
you.
thank you. I can hear too, just so you know, because you guys, I know you guys were concerned about that. No, they weren't. All right, so why don't I just do this till we get moving here, and then we'll let the new chair take over at the end of this. So, welcome everybody to the very first ever Civic Work Standing Policy Committee for Thursday, January the 7th. I'd like to call this meeting to order and read the acknowledgement statement. The City of Lethbridge acknowledges that we are gathering on the lands of the Blackfoot people of the Canadian Plains and pays respect to the Blackfoot people past, present, and future, while recognizing and respecting their cultural heritage, beliefs, and relationships to the land. The City of Lethbridge is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. We have two things. Something happened to my agenda. First
Ye-
thing we have is,
Roll call.
Ryan, you had it said submission 2.1 for
Sure, I'm gonna
election of the chair and
suggest
vice
first
chair.
there, Deputy Mayor Miyashiro, that we do a roll call, and then that we actually get a motion to adopt the agenda.
Thank you very much.
Quick
the
roll
roll.
call here. Councillor Croson,
Here.
Councillor Parker,
Here?
Councillor Kaufman,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Miyashiro.
Here,
Thank you. All members of the committee are present. Now a motion to adopt the agenda, please.
I'll move.
all in favor? Is there any opposed? There are none. We also have in the room, just to mention, Councillor Carlson and Mr. Hawkins, as well as I think Nick is in the chambers, right?
Correct. In the chambers, we have Mr. Cool here, Mr. Sarsfield, Ms. Moncrief, and Ms. Brown.
Great, thank you. Wow, big team today, helping us along to make sure we get things done right. First order of business is the election of the chair and vice chair. Do we have nominations?
Yeah,
I'd like to nominate.
Motion, Councillor Parker.
No, I'd like to. I will not take the chair, but I will take the deputy chair position.
What do you mean you won't take the chair? Boo.
Who me?
Councillor Croson, are you up for it?
If no one else wishes to, I don't mind chairing.
All right. We have a volunteer, Councillor Croson. Do we have a second for Councillor Croson?
So moved.
Councillor Kaufman, all in favor? Is there any opposed? There
Can
are
I just
none.
be opposed? No, just kidding.
No, it's too late. You could have said you're opposed earlier. We have a volunteer for vice chair, which was Councillor Parker. Is there any opposed to that? There are none. Councillor Croson, it's your show. Thank you.
Thank you. So the main thing after electing is looking at our procedure review. Mr. Westerson, I assume you'll be taking the lead on that. I know some of the questions I've been having is how do people contact this SBC if they wish to submit or wish to present. So if you want to just start us off on procedure review and how we will be moving forward as an SBC.
excellent, no problem. So I'll give a quick and hopefully a broad overview to specifically address the public participation component. And then again, we'll open up for questions at the end. Afterwards, I will distribute a summary of everything that we do to speak about to all 4 members of this committee. And the same or similar summary will be distributed to the other standing policy committees as well. So public participation, we'll address that first, is encouraged at the SPCs. Agendas for the SPCs are published, as everyone may or may not be aware at this current time, 1 week in advance on our current City of Lethbridge website under the Agenda Online feature. This allows the public to review the agendas and consider whether to provide written submissions or to come to the meeting when they wish to speak to an item that is on the agenda. Depending on the issue and the level of the public engagement that is desired, committees may desire to advertise upcoming agenda items prior to the circulation of the agenda so that the public has the opportunity to submit and or present in advance. For instance, the SPC could advertise up to 3 weeks ahead of the public website and the public service announcements and other social medias items that are on the agenda or maybe upcoming on the agenda. As a result, it is proposed the following model could work for this SPC and other SPCs. Agendas are published 1 week on of the proposed SPC meeting on the city website. Public is invited to provide submission or request to speak via cityclerk@lethbridge.ca. This process is very similar to the process that we employ for the current public hearings that council enjoys and has enjoyed for many years as part of their regular meeting process. Within the procedure bylaw, anything that will be received ahead of time should be received by our office at that email address, again, cityclerk@lethbridge.ca, 8 days in advance of the meeting. Afterwards, if there is information received afterwards, it will be brought forward at the meeting, again, in accordance with what we have done across public hearings historically and council meetings historically. Speaking presentations will be limited to 5 minutes in accordance with Procedure Bylaw 5411. All materials are provided to city clerk or designate will be published in the public agenda. Any written submissions received at the meeting will be circulated to committee members and made available as part of the corporate public record. And the committee members may ask questions of any of the presenters that do arrive. When directed by the committee members, any upcoming agendas may be advertised, again, prior to the agenda being published in order to solicit feedback. The report of the SPC to City Council will contain a summary of the information received at the SPC meeting. It is a quick little overview of the public participation component. Is there any questions with regards to that?
So just to clarify, if we wanted to take, and I mean, we haven't done anything at this meeting to take forward, but we'd be bringing forward on the Monday, the 18th of January for the next agenda if we had anything to bring forward to council for the 25th or 26th agenda. So we have to remember that those are our timelines that we're working in.
Yes.
Are there any questions from members of the committee or from our guest, Councillor Carlson?
Madam Chair, I have a question. Councillor Kaufman.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. Ryan, for that. Is there in our minute or slash agenda structure, is there the potential to have an items list of things that we may be addressing at future meetings? Again, in an effort to make certain that we're providing enough heads up or enough information to the public, is it possible that when the minutes are presented, there be at future meetings or upcoming conversations, upcoming issues section in the minutes?
Definitely something we can explore and likely implement. It will also, each of the SPCs will have, similar to City Council, on the consent agenda or part of their agenda, I believe it's called the status of directed resolutions. So items that have been maybe referred from City Council or various boards, committees, and commissions up to the appropriate SPC will be tracked and traced on there with deadlines and dates, as well as a gist of the motion or resolution that came from those bodies.
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Hawkins,
you.
do you want to add, Mr. Hawkins, do you want to add anything to that? And is anything coming forward likely come from you and your staff or from committees that your staff work with?
Yeah, I think what Councillor Kaufman is suggesting is easily done. In fact, we can speak to that very issue today in anticipation of next month's meeting. Once we get a little further along, if you'd like, and so we can highlight those things that my staff are contemplating bringing forward for the committee's consideration at the February 4th meeting, I believe, is the next one.
Correct.
So we can include that on the next agenda or in the report from this one, whichever is easiest to put together.
Yeah, easily.
Councillor Kaufman, does that address what your concerns were?
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you.
Are there any other questions from members of the committee? Councillor Carlson, please go ahead.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry to be witness to your railroading into the office. Quick question. Is it only those three BCCs that are reporting to Civic Works? Is it just the CDC, HOC, and MPC?
That's all scheduled now.
Okay. That is, yes.
Thank you. That was just the question. I wasn't, and shame on me, I just wasn't quite clear where the Performing Arts Steering Committee would be reporting to. I for some reason, I thought it was Civic Works, but perhaps it's
cultural and social. Correct.
Cultural and social. Yeah.
There may be items that do arise that come to varying SPCs and for various levels of input. And so when the former Open and Effective Government Committee met and discussed this, they identified certain things may have to cross the different mandates and or thresholds of each SPC. Items of potential environmental concern may be both an economic and or a civic works responsibility, maybe even a community safety responsibility as well. So there may be a continual crossover, but those three boards, committees, and commissions do report directly up to the Civic Works Committee.
Thank you for that. Further to that, if I can, unless there was something else on that. Upcoming capital budget, that was at one point somewhat stewarded by OEG, which is now the Governance Committee, with the same members, I just noticed. Will that,
One different.
yeah, oh, it is. Will some of that be done here or at your committee, or will it still remain with governance? I'm just not sure where the CIP work is going to fall.
By and large, most of the CIP discussions are going to be dealt with at the Economic Standing Policy Committee, but some of the project planning, again, much like the former question, may involve some questions at each of the varying SPCs, but by and large, most of the work, if not all, will be conducted at the Economic Standing Policy Committee.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to add to that too, Councillor Carlson. Yeah, the intent is, this is going to be a work in progress. So to the extent that we're just getting our sea legs, if you will, the intent though is, in terms of administration's approach, is to try to reduce duplication to the extent possible, so that we're not, because CIP is a perfect example. The reality is, economics SPC is a committee of the whole, so you're all there anyway. So even though it might make sense for a particular infrastructure project to come in front of this committee, I think we, at this particular point, I think we'll just go straight to economic SPC, as we would have traditionally done with finance committee in the past, and avoid that duplication. So just that's our current thinking right now. But again, it is a work in progress.
Yes, I assumed it would be. Thank you. Thank you for letting me be part of the meeting.
Councillor Miyashiro?
Thank you. And Councillor Carlson, I'm not sure it's a matter of letting you. I think it's just it's available to you.
Yes. You mean if you had your druthers, you would have.
I did not say that. So a question, I guess, to the chair and to Mr. Westerson is, so let's say we had something really interesting come to us at CDC last week, or earlier this week, and we thought, hey, the Civic Works SPC really needs to hear this. So would we try to get that on the agenda for the next meeting, let's say, and then have whoever we were engaged with at the CDC to maybe come to this standing policy committee and say, hey, how can we get this in play? Mr. Hawkins, what do you think? I don't know.
Well, I'll just say from a procedure point of view, it is built in that we can invite anybody we wish into the SPCs. So that is built in. I'll let Mr. Hawkins speak to the specifics on that case.
Yeah, I'll let Ryan help me out here too, though. Yeah, the intention is obviously in CDC's case, where there's actual council representatives on that committee, I think what we would look for is for those council members to make that invitation and work through Ryan's office, through the clerk's office, to establish the appropriate meeting for that to appear, and to make sure that the proper agenda process is followed. That would be our approach.
Exactly.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, good, thank you.
Councillor Parker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is through yourself to Ryan. Ryan, so are you getting lots of inquiries from boards and committees and commissions in regards to who they have to speak to, or who, for lack of a better term, who they have to answer to in regards to this? Have you had a lot of questions or inquiries?
We have had some, and we have worked with each of those distinctive bodies on informing them how they're going to report up to those. And our office has endeavored to do our best to hopefully continue that communication for the first few months here of this new year, to continue to make sure that it's clear. The information that has been provided to them has been the mandates as passed by council in 2020, as well as the newly revised consolidated bylaw 5411, the procedure bylaw, that shows the reporting structure, as well as a graphic to some of those bodies that actually just graphically shows it, so that they know the reporting structure. If at any time any other boards, committee, or commission may have a question, they are encouraged to contact us, and we will gratefully or graciously help them out and understand where they're supposed to report to.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. My follow-up is, have you had an inquiry from the the Galt Museum because I think they had quite a bit of questions or concern in regards to that connection. Have you talked to them at all yet?
I'm not aware. I've had a preliminary discussion with the CEO of the library, but outside of that,
Not library. Okay, library, not museum, right?
Or the Galt. Sorry, I apologize. Sorry, the Galt.
Okay.
As past chair of OEG, Councillor Parker, I was asked to speak to 3 committees about the standing policy committees. Those are the 3 that invited me to speak to them. The weird thing is all 3 are the 3 committees that report to Civic Works. So all 3 of those had presentations on the SPCs and how they would work. That same offer was made to every one of the BCCs, and those were the only 3 that asked if I would speak to them as the past chair of OEG and explain what we were doing. So that offer would still stand for myself or any, for someone for the city clerk's department to bring them up to speed on this new process.
And I appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Chairman. I also told them, just be patient. This is a learning process, not only for them, but for us as well. Like, we're going into new charter territory, which is optimistic. I'm optimistic. So it's going to take some time for us to get some systems in place. So I've been relaying that back as well. Thank you. Yeah.
It's been about 20 years since standing policy committees such as this operated in the city. So yeah, we're going to stumble a bit as we change to this new system. But everything we've seen from other communities is this has much more public engagement and has much better decision making.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments about where we're trying to head with this? Mr. Hawkins, is there anything, because it's mostly your departments that are going to be representing or presenting to this committee, is there anything we need to do that can make you and your staff's lives easier as we move ahead?
No, nothing comes to mind just yet, but yeah, I look forward to just seeing how it plays out in the next couple months to see just in terms of process and the reporting up to council based on recommendations that come from this committee. So yeah, at this point, I think yeah, we'll take a wait and see approach. We have a number of things that we'll be bringing forward to essentially help you get your sea legs and figure out exactly how this committee is going to function. So yeah, bear with us though, because we're figuring it out as much as you are as well.
We're very aware that in a chaotic time, we've thrown another change at all of the staff. So we're aware of that as well. Unless there's any other further questions or anything else, Mr. Westerson, that we need to know about as we move ahead, those were the only 2 agenda items we had today, I believe. That's correct. Yeah. This hopefully will be the shortest of all the Civic Works meetings we have, because we'll try to get you much more juicy stuff on the agenda moving ahead. But this really was just to get as somebody mentioned, our sea legs and to get ourselves organized. And any member of the committee or any other councillors can send things to us that if they want us to discuss starting on February 4th. So that's when we'll really get moving. And we'll see how the other SPCs get their start in the next upcoming weeks. So
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Councillor Kaufman.
Yeah, sorry, I was answering unless anybody else has any questions. Mr. Hawkins, in response to my question, actually seemed to have an immediate list of things that were going to be coming up. I would be tickled pink if he would share that.
Yep, happy to do that. So right now, there are 3 items that are firming up that I believe we're ready to go with, Ryan. You can just confirm that for sure. One is a transportation safety plan. It's pre-work to the transportation master planning exercise that we're just starting. So there'll be a presentation made by Ahmed Ali in the transportation department regarding our safety plan. I'll just leave it at that. You'll get the agenda well in advance. There's a fair bit of work that's been done in the past year and a half on that. Related to that is a presentation from Adam St. Amand from the Transportation Department regarding community engagement for the Transportation Master Plan. We're looking for the committee's advice as to an essential endorsement of the community engagement process that TMP will follow this time around. And then the third item is the functional planning that's been done to date, where it's still a work in progress. This comes from the CIP, the 13th Street North and 5th Avenue North functional planning work. We've been working at that for several months. There's been a fair bit of public engagement from adjacent residents and businesses on the north side with respect to those transportation plans, and we want to present the findings to the point at which we're at, and provide the committee with an opportunity to give us some feedback on that as well before we enter the final phase of that project. So those three items are currently scheduled for February 4th. Just thinking a little further ahead too, there's a project there was a referral last fall from council regarding that flowed out of the discussion around the CIP on the pathway improvements, and in particular a cancellation of what we call Pathway 24 in 6 Mile Coulee. We've been undertaking a fair bit of public engagement with respect to in future investments in terms of pathways, in particular in the River Valley. That one has not been firmed up, I don't believe yet, Mr. Westerson, but I suspect it could come as early as the meeting in March.
Correct.
So that's sort of what's on the immediate horizon.
Thank you. For the TMP, we're at the start again for another go round of updating that.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
It's good to know what we will have bringing forward in the next while. Looks like February will be a busy meeting and lots of reading to do in advance. So I'm glad we're getting the agendas out earlier with that amount of reading to go. Last call for any questions or comments before we adjourn this meeting. I will adjourn us then. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Westerson, and for all the city clerk staff for everything. And happy that we were the first standing policy committee to get going, and we'll see you all in February.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good
Chair.
job. Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year.